Welcome to The Explainer. I am so excited you're joining us today. Okay, let's dive right into a scene that I'm willing to bet is going to feel incredibly familiar. You walk into a store, you spot this gorgeous, vibrant indoor plant, and you think, yep, this is it. This is the one that's going to totally transform my living room. You bring it home, you give it prime real estate, you water it, you make sure it gets sunlight. Maybe you even talk to it a little bit or, gently beg it to live. And somehow, despite all your love and attention, a few weeks later, it just quietly dies. If you have ever felt that sting of defeat, well, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we are decoding the silent language of indoor plant survival. It is beyond frustrating, isn't it? I mean, you followed the golden rules. Water plus sunlight equals life, right? So when the plant still just gives up the ghost, it feels weirdly personal. You start to think you just have a black thumb or that you're fundamentally bad at keeping things alive. But I want to stop you right there, because today we're going to solve the central mystery of this explainer. Why do perfectly well-intentioned people keep losing their plants? And honestly, this brilliant little insight perfectly captures the answer. Most indoor plants don't die because beginners are bad at plant care. They die because beginners are solving the wrong problem. Think about how empowering that is. Keeping a plant alive isn't a test of your inherent skill. It's really just a silent language you haven't learned to translate yet. By the end of this explainer, you're going to know the crucial little secrets that actually keep these green companions alive. We're going to give your next plant a much, much better chance. To start translating, we have to recognize one fundamental truth. Plants fail quietly. We tend to think houseplants are these incredibly fragile things, but actually, a lot of them are surprisingly tough. The real issue? It's their communication style. Look, when a dog is hungry, it barks. When your phone battery is dying, it flashes this bright, stressful red warning. Plants don't do that. They just quietly decline. One day you just sort of notice yellow leaves or droopy stems, or the whole thing just looks totally defeated. Because they aren't screaming at us, our first knee-jerk instinct to save them is usually completely wrong. Section 1. The overwatering paradox, when drowning looks like thirst. So when we see a sad, drooping plant, what is our immediate reaction? Oh no, I need to water it more. Ironically, this is exactly where the battle is lost. Overwatering is absolutely one of the biggest reasons indoor plants die. But here is the tricky part that trips literally everyone up. Overwatering doesn't always mean dumping way too much water on the plant all at once. It actually usually means watering it too often. Yes, plants absolutely need water, but their roots also desperately need oxygen to survive. And this misunderstanding creates a tragic cycle of doom. Let's walk through it. Step 1, you water too frequently. The soil stays constantly wet, and those tiny, absolutely essential air pockets in the soil just vanish. Step 2, without air, the roots suffocate, they begin to rot, and suddenly they physically cannot absorb water anymore. Step 3, and here's the paradox, because the plant can't take in water, an overwatered plant actually looks thirsty. It gets droopy, it turns yellow, its growth stalls out. So what happens in step 4? The well-meaning beginner sees a thirsty-looking plant and waters it more. And the cycle just keeps going until the plant is a goner. Okay, so how do we break the cycle? Forget watering on a strict calendar schedule. Throw that idea out. Before you ever grab that watering can, check the soil first. It's a simple, super actionable rule of thumb, literally. Just stick your finger about an inch or two into the soil. If it still feels moist, just wait. Your plant probably isn't asking for a drink yet. Seriously, this one tiny adjustment saves countless plants from drowning. Section 2. The light illusion, matching your plant to your space. There is a massive, massive contrast between what our eyes see and a plant's actual reality. See, human eyes are incredibly good at automatically adjusting to shadows. So what looks like a beautiful, bright, sunny living room to us can actually be pretty dim for a plant. The truth is, outdoor sunlight is just dramatically stronger than whatever light manages to sneak through our windows. Our human perception is basically tricking us. Which brings us to that notoriously confusing phrase you see on literally every plant tag at the nursery: bright, indirect light. I mean, what does that even mean? Simply put, it usually means placing your plant near a bright window, but not directly in the path of those harsh sun rays that could physically burn its leaves. It's all about proximity to the light source, just without that intense, magnifying glass heat of direct, blazing sun. And this is exactly where we have to be strategic, because different plants have entirely different expectations. Plants like snake plants and ZZ plants, they have this amazing tank-like tolerance for lower light. But other popular choices, like those trendy fiddle-leaf figs or most flowering plants, they want way more light than most people realize. This highlights a classic beginner mistake, buying a plant just because it looks gorgeous in a perfect, bright greenhouse, and then sticking it in a dark corner of your home office. It's a totally different world. The best beginner plant isn't the prettiest one, it's the one that actually matches your specific space. But hey, if you do get it wrong, your plant is going to try to tell you. Look out for these specific visual cues. Is your plant literally stretching or leaning super heavily toward the nearest window? Is it barely growing at all? Or is it becoming leggy, where there's a ton of bare, awkward stem between the leaves? If you see that, your plant is effectively starving for light. Section 3. Underground Killers, the Unseen Traps of Pots and Soil. The pot you choose is quite literally a matter of life and death for your plant. Imagine pouring water into a glass cup that has no exit. Eventually, the water just sits there, completely stagnant. The exact same thing happens in those really beautiful decorative pots that don't have drainage holes. The water collects at the bottom, the root stays soaking wet, and massive problems start quietly brewing underground. Drainage holes give that excess water somewhere to go. They are absolutely not optional decoration. They are survival equipment. And while we're poking around underground, we really need to talk about soil. Indoor plants are not all supposed to live in the exact same bag of potting mix. Think of soil as the plant's environment, not just dirt. Some plants, like cacti, evolved for harsh deserts and they need really fast-draining soil. Others, like your lush tropicals, prefer soil that hangs on to more moisture. Taking a desert cactus and planting it in dense, soggy soil is basically forcing it to live in the wrong climate. It just won't survive. Section 4. The adjustment phase, when doing nothing is the best cure. Sometimes a plant struggles, and it's not even because you're doing something wrong. It's simply because it is adjusting. Think about it. Moving a plant from a highly controlled, perfect commercial nursery into your living room is a deeply traumatic event for it. Suddenly, absolutely everything changes. The light shifts, the humidity drops, the temperature fluctuates. It is a massive, stressful environmental shift. Plants react to the shift through something called transplant shock, or environmental adjustment. They might start just dropping leaves out of nowhere or completely halt their growth. Now, when beginners see this, they understandably panic. They move the plant to 5 different windows. They totally change their watering routine. They dump fertilizer on it. But during this phase, the absolute best thing you can do is nothing. Just wait. Give it stability. Plants love consistency way, way more than they love perfection. Section 5. Learning to listen. Decoding the silent language. If you have always thought you had a black thumb, I really want you to let this sink in. Stop trying to keep your plants alive. Instead, start trying to understand what they're telling you. Yes, plants communicate differently than we do, but they absolutely do communicate. Yellow leaves? Ask why. Crispy brown edges? Ask why. Drooping stems? Ask why. Start viewing these symptoms as really valuable clues rather than personal failures. Once you start reading these signals, plant care becomes so much less mysterious and a whole lot more fun. The path from a struggling beginner to a total plant expert is actually pretty straightforward. You just keep observing those symptoms. You keep adjusting your water, your light, and your soil. You keep learning from the outcomes. And maybe most importantly, you give yourself permission to learn. I promise you, that person you know who has a beautiful, lush apartment full of thriving indoor plants, they're just someone who accidentally killed a basic pothos early on, but didn't give up. They just kept adjusting. I want to leave you with this ultimate truth, something I think every single beginner needs to hear. Killing a plant doesn't mean you failed. It usually means you learned something. Almost every experienced plant owner out there has a whole graveyard of plants that just didn't make it. The difference is they use those experiences to understand the environment better. So if your plants keep dying, don't beat yourself up. Just check the water, check the light, ensure you have drainage, and make sure the plant actually matches your space. Armed with this entirely new mindset, your next plant might not just survive, it might completely change how you see indoor gardening. So I'll leave you with this final thought. What is your next plant trying to tell you? If you enjoyed this explainer and want more beginner-friendly guides to unlock the secrets of the world around you, make sure to hit subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me today, and hey, happy observing!